Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, there are 5 people that are definitely glad Carnival cruise ships are sailing in Australia and New Zealand area, as they came to the rescue when their boat was stuck at sea with rough seas, a broken mast, and a broken engine. Not a great situation. Pino Cruises, on the other hand, has also canceled a 35-day cruise. And instead of just refunding you your money, they moved you to another ship. We'll question that in a minute. Disney Cruise Line is also telling people to prepare for possible delays getting on their ships in the future because they still have that glitch going on their website with their online checking process. We also have finally MSSE Cruise Lines. Well, what are they doing? Well, they are changing their dining on board, especially for their specialty dining that people pay extra for, and they're making some very good changes, I think. So it was supposed to be a luxury trip for 5 people, and 3 of their dogs were on this trip. They were sailing around the coast of Australia and then were heading across to Fiji. Well, they ran into some very rough seas and rough weather where their mast on the ship broke off, as well as their engine conked out and left them stranded in rough seas in the middle of the ocean between, New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji. Not a terrific place to be in rough weather by yourselves, but along came the Carnival Splendor and rescued the 5 passengers and their 3 dogs. They were checked out by medical staff on board and cleared. No worse for wear, very happy to still be alive. And I'm sure they're happy that there are cruise ships sailing this time of year in that area. Oh boy, rough seas on a small boat like that, so rough that it broke your mast and broke down your engine. Yikes, must have got caught in something that came up very, very quickly. Next, let's talk about the Pino Cruise Line, and they canceled the Ventura, a 2027 sailing for a 35-day round trip from Southampton to the Caribbean and back. 35 days. The cruise was supposed to leave on January 4th, 2027 from Southampton for 35 days, and the cruise ship holds about 3,200 passengers. Well, they have changed the itinerary, canceled those cruises, and actually have set up 3 different cruises during that time on the ship now. But instead of canceling and refunding everybody their money, they moved the cruise to a similar sailing on the Iona. Now, the Iona is sailing 1 day sooner and basically doing almost the same itinerary with very few exceptions. Still leaving from Southampton, still a return, and it is leaving on the 3rd of January 2027. So it does seem like it's a very similar cruise on a newer ship, actually. However, what if you didn't want to be on the larger ship? This ship holds 5,200 passengers, 44% more passengers than the Ventura. So yeah, people weren't offered their refund or anything or compensation for having the cruise moved over. They were just automatically moved over. So some people may not even know yet that this has happened and may be in for a little bit of a surprise when they figure it out. Now, if you had this booking and you wanted to keep the booking, I would definitely be contacting the cruise line to make sure you're in a cabin of your liking, because they're choosing where to put you. Usually they try the best they can do to put you in a similar category and sit on the floor in the similar area. But if there's no cabins, say, available in the suite area where people have booked a suite for this sailing, well, then you're going to be put in someplace else that you might not like. You might be at the front of the ship instead of the back of the ship. And you might be near elevators where you weren't near elevators. A whole list of things that can happen. So please, if you're on that ship, check it out. And again, if they tell you that, oh no, you can't get your money back, we just switched you over to a new ship, they are wrong. Plain and simple, they are not allowed to do that. They can only do that if they replace the ship completely and have the same itinerary, same ship sailing on the same day. They cannot move you to a completely different day of sailing. That's called canceling a booking. So they would owe you your money back. And there should be no penalties and no fees whatsoever as well. Just as a heads up with that. Next, let's talk about Disney Cruise Line, as they're having some issues with their embarkation because of a glitch that's going on with their online check-in, where people aren't able to download pictures or aren't able to say yes to the health questionnaire, or various different reasons that's going on right now. And that means when they get to the cruise ship, they have to do that all for every passenger getting on board, which means everybody needs their photos. Everybody needs to show proof of ID and give them your passport so they can, take down the numbers and everything. All the stuff that can normally be done well ahead of your cruise, so embarkation goes so much faster, can't be done on some of the ships right now. It's happened on 2 cruise ships so far, and I hear rumors of a 3rd just happened, and Disney has come out and said, yeah, we're having a glitch, we're working on it, but there could be some delays going forward on your next Disney cruise ship. Yeah, that's not the day you want to have problems. You want to be able to get on the ship as fast as possible, because embarkation day and disembarkation day are the most stressful days of any cruise out there. And finally, let's talk about MSSE Cruise Lines and some of the things that they're doing to enhance the dining experience on board. Well, first of all, they're offering a 20% discount if you book your dining experiences before you get on the ship. So it's going to cost you 20% more if you do the bookings on the ship, but you can save 20% by booking them ahead of time. That sounds like, okay, most cruise lines offer something like that. That's a good deal. Next, they're offering also like a 4-night dining package where you can pay one price and you can eat at 4 different restaurants or 4 of the same restaurants every single night for a reduced price. Also, you have, except for the butcher's cut, the steakhouse, you're still only able to eat there once because it is their most popular restaurant on their ships. And then finally, they are also enhancing their set menus. So they are now giving you a set menu for these dining with a set price, with an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. This way you don't have you know what it's going to cost you exactly when you sit down at these dining venues. You know exactly the options you're going to get. And there, of course, will be some add-in items if you want. Like if all of a sudden you're in the teppanyaki, they look at you and you say, hey, would you like the Wagyu beef? Well, that's going to cost you extra because Wagyu, Osaka Wagyu beef is imported and it's very expensive, high quality meat. Of course, that's not going to be included in the $35, menu on board. So yeah, some good changes on board. I found some of their dining on the cruise ship when I was on board was a little confusing with the prices and the way they had menus set up, but now they're going to have basically a set price and you can choose from a whole list of appetizers, a whole list of entrees, and a whole list of desserts. And it's going to be a lot easier when you're on board. So there you are. Let me know what you guys think. How would you feel if you were on a 3,200 passenger cruise ship? They moved you to a 5,200 cruise ship passenger, leaving on this basically the same time period. Would you be okay with that? Or would you say, no, that ship is now going to be too crowded for me compared to what I was hoping for. I want less people, not more. That's why I booked this ship. And the fact that they moved you without even telling you, really, they just moved you. And there's by the way, no hint of compensation or any extras or onboard credits or anything like that in their press release. Just, yep, we moved everybody over to the Iona. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.